Welcome into another edition of the Brian Gregory Show. Jim Lighthall and the head coach himself joining you. We just flew him in from Cincinnati. That's why he's smiling, because the Bulls just took care of business in their American Conference opener. Coach, good to see you. I know you're happy today.
Well, you can't see the smile, but it's a big one. There's no doubt about it. Played well, competed hard, played with great physicality in every phase of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. Did a great job out of timeouts. Executed the game plan defensively extremely well. Guys rose to the challenge. You know, they really did. And you're on the road, and we made a run, and they made a run, and we made a decision going in those last 4 minutes. We huddle them up. Last round of the 10-round fight, tie game on the road. This is where you want to be. What are we going to do? And we said we're going inside. We're going inside. We're going into Lex, try to get Mike something. And those guys responded well, and the guards delivered big plays for us.
Well, there's so many details I want to get to in that game, so many little things that maybe don't show up in a box score if people didn't have a chance to see that. So we'll break that down. We'll break down the Wofford game as well, which came right down to the wire, and many other things in between. We have Larry Dixon, the assistant coach, coming up, so a lot to get to. Highlights from our call from the last couple of games. So you just got in from Cincinnati. I guess first and foremost, the Bulls hadn't won there in so long. The Cosby Show was #1 TV show the last time the Bulls won up there. How was that locker room afterward?
Well, it was great. And we didn't really know that. It was about 10 minutes after the locker room celebration. We just knew that, winning on the road is really hard in this league, winning at Cincinnati. You go a little bit back to last year's meltdown at the end where we, didn't defend very well and didn't take care of the ball. Really had a lot of turnovers in the last 8 minutes of that game. So there was it was an outburst of all those things kind of added up.
Yeah, kind of built up.
Yeah, and then I went back in the coach's locker room, and the guys were still kind of celebrating because we were going to go back to the hotel because we weren't flying back till this morning. And then I was told that it was 1988. So I went back in there and let the guys know, because one of the great things about being a college player is when you're trying to build a program, there are some things that happen that have not happened in a long time, and you mark those down. Those are things that you'll always remember. Those guys will be able to tell their kids, we won at Cincinnati for the first time in 40 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I had to remind them that I was a junior in college in 1988, and so it was good. It was really good, and the guys are tremendous.
I was looking back through the history books, and I was thinking this morning, I had never been in that building for a win. I had seen 14 losses in a row, so I know the frustration that has happened in that building before. There's been some close games in the past, but to get the victory is important, and maybe more so than anything else, it's your American Conference opener.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you're on the road, as a head coach in particular, there's a lot of alone time. You know what I mean? If you're not with your team, you're in your room, and so you go over so many different things. And we lost a very close game there a couple years ago.
Yep.
Where Cumberland, we just kept fouling them. They didn't make any baskets at the end of the game, but he made a ton of free throws. And we competed. I mean, we competed hard. That was a hard-fought game. But then I think back, the last two times, very fortunate to bring teams to play Cincinnati. We won both those games. So I was like, hey, mate, I got a pretty good record here. You know what I mean? And I felt good about our guys. We had 2 good days of practice. And our guys were dialed in. We had to change some of our schemes defensively for this game. And I just felt really comfortable that the guys had really bought into, okay, this is going to work.
Right.
And it did.
So let's go back to the very beginning of this game last night. It tips off. Both teams come out red hot. You're shooting the ball like crazy. The offensive rebounds were super important for you, taking charges. I thought you guys were just doing everything right. I mean, it had to be the kind of start you were looking for.
Yeah, it really was, and it was. They were clicking on offense too, and we wanted to put a little more pressure on them right away, and they got on us so fast offensively that we were on our heels about the first 4 or 5 possessions.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got settled down and really kind of did a good job on the defensive end. Offensively, our pace was great. Some throw-ahead passes. And then when Mike and Lex are that aggressive, not only around the basket but on the glass, it just adds another dimension to us. You know what I mean? Because what it does do, Jim, it takes some of the pressure off making that first shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? The number one key for us is to take care of the ball, this offense, take care of the ball, and get a quality shot up on the rim. We're going to make enough quality shots. But the thing is, if it's a quality shot, that means the defense has broken down somewhere. And if the defense is broken down somewhere, there's that crack or crevice that we're going to try to exploit on the offensive glass, even if we miss it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big, big key for us. And we really hit them over the last 4 or 5 days as we head into conference play, what our game goals are. Within the game, these are things that we have to do. Defensive field goal percentage, amount of turnovers, more free throws, 70% from the free throw line. I put that in there this year because I think that's critical for us. The defensive, what we call kills, where you get 3 straight stops. I do not have a charge thing in there.
You better put one in.
But goodness gracious, David Collins took 3 charges and 2 other offensive fouls he picked up in one game. That's the most of any player I've ever had.
Yeah. There's a play that he's involved in that I'll get to here in just a little bit. But you talked about the run that you put together. You get up by 12 with about 11 minutes to go. I'm doing the game with Joey Johnston. I look at him. He looks at me, and I go, boy, this feels a lot like last year. You know, you got to hang on, though. And then they make their run, or should I say Keith Williams makes his run, because I think he scored 12 straight, and he kind of woke up, and then all of a sudden you got a game again.
Yeah, and you know, he was great last year here.
Yeah.
He's a dynamic player, you know, and some of it was turnovers, some of it was we missed a couple shots around the rim.
It felt like they sped you up a little bit with their pressure in the backcourt.
Yeah,
too.
they did.
Yeah.
They did. And and then the last 6 minutes we handled it extremely well.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, again, it's a game of runs. It's not like you're not playing. It's not 5-on-0. There is another team out there. You know what I mean? And I always say, coaches, players, people always talk about that they lost a 12-point lead, but no one ever talks about that they got the 12-point lead. You know what I mean? So they had to be doing some stuff right. But we responded. We got 3 straight stops, and we got the big and one by Mike, and then Lex hit 2 free throws.
So go back to the stops, because it's 68-68 with about 4 minutes to go. Williams is on fire, and he throws an entry pass into Ivanauskas, who runs over David Collins. So you finally get the stop that you need, and the whole momentum of the game shifts after that play, because then you score 5 straight, and we'll get to the end of the game after that. But that play really flipped the game.
Yeah, we get the charge, and then 2 plays later they try to hit Williams on a back cut, and we sniff it out.
Yep.
David does another great job, but JB did a good job of not overextending another turnover. And you know, we just said, hey, we want to go inside right now. Settle us down a little bit. And Lex, up to this point, the play of the season, he gets the ball. Ivanauskas comes and double teams him. But the unsung play is Mike Durr's dive to the rim.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of that's what you do when the ball goes in the post, your other postman dives. But that was a serious dive. That was like a hard, I got to get this. No one's and he dove in front of Williams. He didn't.
Who picked up his 5th foul.
Then
right.
picks up his 5th foul. So huge play, great execution, great post feed by Murphy. Great 2-hand catch by Lex. He chinned it. He read the double team and was able to hit Mike on the dive.
So you get toward the end of the game there. Mike has got the free throws. He gets 1 out of 2. You're up with 6 seconds to play. And again, there's a play there at the end of the game on an offensive rebound where JB just gets a hand in on it. And Cincinnati was going to get the rebound. That will never show up in a box score. Mike
Right.
Duran's up with the basketball, and then he goes to the free throw line. So that gives you the 3-point lead. But those little things by seniors, by guys that have played 100 basketball games for you.
Yeah, I mean that was, again, if from the sideline, JB knew how big of a play that
Yeah.
was.
You could see by his reaction.
You could see by his reaction.
Yeah.
And our team knew, and it was like one finger
Yeah.
on the ball, and but he's been making those hustle plays. I mean, our hustle plays and second and third effort plays yesterday were off the chart. And again, that's how we're supposed to, play.
Mm-hmm.
And at times we've shown it, but yesterday was the by far the most consistent.
So now there's 6 seconds to go in the game. They're down 3. I'm on the radio going, I've talked to Brian Gregory. They foul every time in this situation. That's what they want to do. Cincinnati gets a pretty good look at 3. They miss it. You win the game.
Yeah, we should have fouled on the catch. Now, we're going to foul on the dribble up, but they took one dribble and called a timeout right away. So we want to protect the corners in that, and we're staying with our men, but we said on the catch to foul. Now, again, what always happens is you have a system in place, a protocol in place, but in live action, sometimes it's hard.
And you don't want to foul while someone's elevating to shoot.
Exactly.
I mean, that's cardinal sin right there. Right.
You got to foul on the catch because there was already under 6 seconds. So when he caught it, he was inside the 3, the first catch. And then we didn't, and then we kind of didn't communicate enough on a switch. And he got a relatively clean look, but it was an off balance because he had to move away from where the defense had shifted to. But at this point, again, we've gone over that in practice, and we've practiced it in different things. But there's nothing like the game situation. Yeah. So now the good thing is you're going to be able to watch film on Saturday and go over that stuff and make sure everybody understands because now you have a live action to kind of demonstrate it.
And again, we go back to the fact that Williams had fouled out, so he's not on the floor to take that last shot.
Right.
Who's the guy they're probably looking for in that situation?
No doubt about it. And, couple big plays, some charges, some offensive fouls, some defensive stuff. With us being strong, he gets fouls. Makes a big difference.
So you win the game 74-71. You get the win in the conference opener. The first time that's happened in the American on the road. You had never won your opener on the road in this league. A big win, obviously. And then it really, if we can touch on it for just a couple minutes, it's so big because it comes on the heels of the Wofford win, which came right down to the wire in Atlanta on last Saturday.
Yeah, and I thought there was times where offensively, first half, we weren't very good, but we were good defensively the whole way through in that game, the whole way through. And as you know, we it's the first thing we talk about. We got to hang our hat on our defensive, low field goal percent defense, and then dominating the defensive glass. I thought in both games our rebounding was at the level it needs to be at. And again, you go to Atlanta, you spend 3 days preparing for LSU.
Right.
Okay. And this is no offense to Wofford. You're playing LSU that has 5 NBA players on the team. Then you play Wofford, who has no NBA players but runs 500 plays. So it's a completely different. And to our guys' credit, a less mature team would have exhaled. And number one, we played Wofford last year, so we know how good they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? A guy who I care for deeply, B.J. Mack, who's transferred from us, is playing there. So that we know they got good players. We know they got a great system and different things like that. So our guys were ready to go. We were not sharp offensively in the first half. You're playing in a completely different setting a little bit. I think every team that was there had a bad shooting night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we had a bad passing first half.
Mm-hmm.
But then we kind of regrouped and did a much better job in the second half. And a big win. We got some critical stops when we needed them. Jameer Chapman gave us a big lift. David Collins, played another second game in a week where he was not only, very, very good offensively, but really helped us on the glass as well with a double-double. So a lot of good things last week in a lot of the key phases of our team.
We'll talk about David a little bit more in depth in the next segment, but you mentioned Jameer Chaplin. He's coming back to the state of Georgia to play. Had the huge dunk in transition on the pass from Caleb Murphy, which was a highlight play maybe for the year. Then he gets the tip in at the end of the game, and then he gets the steal to seal the thing. Just had a really, really nice game.
Yeah, and there was a point with probably about 10 minutes to go where we made the decision that JB had tweaked his ankle the day before in practice.
Okay.
And even though he made some shots, he just didn't have maybe the burst at that time. We felt on the defensive end, Chap was a good matchup. And I just felt that the way they were really emphasizing the cutouts of our bigs on Lex and Mike, or when we went with a smaller lineup, Rayshawn was out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I felt we needed a guy from the perimeter to be able to fly in and help on the glass. And with about 10 minutes to go, I got on Chap a little bit because a shot was taken, and he stood on the perimeter. And that's not what he does. He's a fly guy. He is tremendous at slashing and getting to the basket for rebounds. I said, you got to get us some big offensive rebounds. Well, little did I know that it would, he missed one.
Yep.
But he kept going. And, it was critical for us, and that energy that he brought really helped us.
Well, it's a 58-56 win over Wofford in Atlanta. Then you pile on last night's game. It's 4 wins in a row as you get ready to take on Wichita State here in this building. We'll talk about that game coming up. I want to talk about the fans coming back and being able to see your basketball team, and a little bit more about David Collins as well, because he's the reigning American Conference Player of the Week. We will come back with more. He's Brian Gregory. This is the Brian Gregory Show on Bulls Unlimited. Welcome back to the Brian Gregory Show. As we continue on, we've talked about the 2 victories with the coach over Wofford and also over Cincinnati. Coach, I want to get a little bit more in-depth into David Collins, because you mentioned him. He's the reigning American Conference Player of the Week now. First double-double in his career. He had 8 rebounds in the first half of that game and finished with 11.
He's been tremendous on the defensive glass. We also this year have incorporated him going to the offensive glass, and there's times where he's really benefited from that. Just the aggressiveness of always staying involved on the offensive end. So he's really worked hard on his game, and my communication piece with him always is show the player that you are now. Don't defer back to, where it's I got to drive. I got to drive. You can drive. But now you're good enough to make plays off the drive. And he has more assists than turnovers right now, which is a big key for us. He also has a mid-range game. So it could be drive to the floater or drive to a pull-up. The one thing I'm still on him. I need him to shoot the 3 when the 3 presents itself. Mm-hmm. He needs to be more aggressive to shoot that. He's worked hard on his shooting. It looks good. He's built confidence. Now we need to see it a little more in the game. He had a big one in the Cincinnati game, but I always tell him after watching the film, I always show him 2 or 3 times that we need you to take that shot.
Yeah.
We need you to take that shot. As I said earlier, the defense has been broken down. That's why you're open. Even if he misses, we got a great chance of getting a rebound on that. But he's, shooting at a 50% clip from there. So
just going to bring that up, yeah.
So to me, you got to just don't defer. Okay, this is what I've always done. His game has evolved. It's better. So showcase that. And in our system, we let the guys do that. And so, he's one of the few guys I've ever coached. I've had to prod him to show the things that he's gotten better at. But obviously playing at a high level right now, and was dynamic with some of his passes in the Cincinnati game, reading things. He's just gotten much better.
So he's shooting basically 50% from the floor. He's shooting 54% from three-point range. And with him and Lex right now shooting the 3 ball the way they are, I mean, I wouldn't know who to guard on the perimeter. But you bring up the point about Collins driving the ball into pressure. Early in the year, he was trying to go through that pressure and was turning it over, getting shots blocked. Now he's dishing that off, shooting percentage goes up, and his assists are up.
Yeah, again, it's we call them paint decisions. You got to get in the paint, but then you got to make good decisions when you're in the paint, and he's done it. He's done a great job of that. And I would say one other thing, Jim, that I think goes unnoticed a little bit, and probably I'll take the blame for it. For the last 2 years, he's had the Defensive Player of the Year in the league next to him.
Right.
Right now, he's got, for a good part, a freshman that is still trying to find his way defensively. Now, to Caleb Murphy's credit, boy, he was good defensively against Cincinnati. He did a really good job. But because of that, we've had to make some adjustments, and David sometimes is guarding the point guard if that point guard is someone that and Caleb can match up well with the two. We've had to cross-match a little bit, especially early in the season. David's done a tremendous job. He's done a really, really good job. Storm Murphy, he guarded, forced in a ton of shots. Murphy played great, but had to do, and he wore him down.
Yeah.
Just wore him down. Yesterday in the Cincinnati game, we put him on DeJulius, and he did a tremendous job on him. So again, we're asking him to do a lot. But as a senior, as a guy who's an all-league player of the year type candidate, that's what you expect.
Last night when they threw full court pressure at you, Caleb was having a little trouble with it. Xavier got trapped a couple times. And then I noticed you started inbounding the ball to David Collins. And at 220 pounds, he's tough to pin in. And his array of ball fakes and stuff got him some moves. And all of a sudden, he's crossed midcourt. You got a 3-on-2.
Yeah, and we needed him on a couple times when the point had the ball to be circling back to make himself available. We left Castaneda on an island a couple times without the flashmen doing what they needed to do. But like I said, there was about a 4-minute stretch where we didn't handle it well. But the rest of the game, we did a really good job of. But obviously, when you have David, who we've played at the point, has played with the ball in his hands for 4 years, he's a guy that you trust in those type of situations.
So I know all the Bulls fans, Coach, are really looking forward to seeing your basketball team on Tuesday here against Wichita State. We'll talk about the Shockers coming up in just a bit. But just the fact that the fans are going to be in the building, I thought it was a factor in Cincinnati that the place was practically empty. Having been there 14, 15 times, you know what the crowd can do there. And now you hope that happens in this building.
Yeah, obviously it's a big difference. And I think they had about 350 people in the stands yesterday. But forget Cincinnati. I'm excited about here at the Yuengling Center, getting those 1,000 or whatever we can in to watch this team play, in to bring some energy into the arena. It will be unique because it's still 1,000 out of 11,000, but we got great. Those thousands are the prime fans and supporters, so it's going to be great to have them part of this journey that we're going to undertake at home starting on Tuesday.
Does part of you say, I want to show this basketball team off a little bit, and I haven't had that opportunity to do it?
Yeah, and with the way it is with radio and TV, there's still the exposure, but it's different seeing the team in a live situation and so forth. But we have a chance if we can continue to move forward to do some great things, and having those great supporters and fans with us during that ride would be tremendous.
You'll still be socially distanced from everybody. It's not going to be the same look. I mean, the way the chairs are set up, the way the fans are going to be pushed back a little bit, but to have some friendly voices in the crowd will certainly be nice for you.
They'll hear a lot more of me, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more of them.
And Tom Harrion, more than likely.
Yeah.
Before we get to Wichita State and a little bit of that, just a quick word about Jose Fernandez and the women's team, what they have done. Obviously, the fans want to see what they're doing right now because they're a top 25 program, but the wins that have happened while your season has been going on.
I mean, obviously, great win against a top 10 team in Mississippi State, and to follow it up with going on the road last night too and winning at Memphis. It's so different because we're in league play. You normally have 13 games, 2 close scrimmages. You know your team by that time. Guys have worked through some early season rust and different things like that. But Jose even played less games, and he has a bunch of new players and different. So obviously I think the world of him, think the world of the program. It's a first class program, unbelievable ladies. I always say one of the best parts of our job is everybody is here. Women's program, men's program. We all get along. We all support each other. It just makes it so much fun.
I mean, you're just basically separated by a hallway, and I know it's like you were the first one to congratulate him on that win, and it seems like he's the first one to congratulate you because you know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Both of you guys.
When you go on the road and you get a win, man, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
So Tuesday night coming up, you'll have the Wichita State Shockers come into this building. This is a program that has undergone a ton of changes in the last, 2 weeks? And then you go back to the end of last season, and the roster is completely different. Tell me what you've seen and how much have you seen of them. I know the Cincinnati game is still pretty fresh.
Yeah, and at the same time, and this is, why they're year in and year out one of the top 30 programs in the country. You still have NTM at the two guard who started every game. Dennis.
Yep.
At the 3, who's a high-level guy. Wade was their starting 4. He's back. They replaced a guy that played a lot in Encheneke with Udizi, who also played a lot. The difference is their starting point guard started the last 2 years at Connecticut.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now Tariq Gilbert. So they're still really, really good. The guys coming off the bench are all the new guys. And they played really well the other night at Tulsa. But the biggest change is just the coaching change that had occurred.
What kind of relationship did you have with Greg Marshall?
I've known him a long time.
Yeah.
I've always said, he's one of the best coaches in the country. I don't know the ins and outs of what was going on.
Sure.
I always know one thing. It's probably somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? In my opinion. But they decided to make the change, and an assistant who's been there a long time has a great relationship with the kids, is taking over, and I think sometimes, and you know this, it kind of maybe brings the team together.
Us
a
against
bit
the
more.
world.
Yeah. So, and I think they're playing that way. They lost a couple close games, but they started out on the road and won at Tulsa. That's a hard place to win. So I've gone over this with our guys. Each team in our league, this is how this team wins games. And Wichita State, they win with physicality, they win with toughness, and they win with great offensive execution. And so to beat them, you got to match the physicality, you got to defend extremely well, and you got to be able to take care of the basketball and not have empty possessions. So that will be a big key heading into Tuesday night.
Their game at Tulsa was a lot like your game at Cincinnati, where they had a double-digit lead. And then it got down to a 1-point game, and then they turned it on in the last couple of minutes. Very similar feel to it.
Yeah.
And they're a scrappy bunch. They've always played tough down the stretch. They're a bunch of tough kids.
Yeah, there's just programs that after 6, 8, 10 years, that culture, that DNA, it's plug and play now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they have that. That's. When you look at Cincinnati, it doesn't matter if it's John, if it's Mick, or if it's Bobby.
Right.
Those kids are going to be tough. They're going to play hard. They're going to defend, and it's going to be physical. It doesn't matter. Now, John's maybe a different offensive coach than Mick or than Bobby. They're still the Cincinnati. Those guys put on those uniforms. They look like Cincinnati players.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing now at Wichita State. And that's where we want to get to. And so to get there, you got to be able to beat those teams. And we took a big step in Cincinnati, and now we got to protect our home on Tuesday.
And last question, Wichita State now, I think in their third year in the league. It was controversial when they left their league to come to the American. They wanted to get into a multiple bid league. You like the decision now? You like having this team in your league?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's great for our league. I think maybe the Wichita fans didn't realize how good our league was.
Because they got a little spoiled.
Yeah. You know what I mean? They ain't going 15-1 in this league.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or 18-0. That ain't happening. But yeah, it's been great for our league. It's been great for our league. Plus, because of the situation, location-wise, Wichita, Tulsa, Houston, SMU. There's some proximity there, so it made great sense for us.
Well, it's going to be a fun night on Tuesday here at the Ingling Center. Coach, looking forward to that. Looking forward to making it 5 in a row and getting off to a 2-0 start in the league.
That'd be fantastic.
Well, the next time you and I will sit down and talk will actually be around January 12th, so we'll have plenty of material to talk about. And by the way, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Your birthday was earlier this week, a great present with a couple of wins.
I will tell you one thing. I thought I was 55.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And then you sent me the text, and I said, am I 55 or 54?
Did you get that AARP card? Is that what thought?
That's 2020, folks. That's 2020.
Yeah.
Don't even know how old I am.
Don't know your own age. That is a problem, Coach.
So make sure if you want any time, drop off a Christmas presents before the next show.
Okay. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
You got it.
All right, that's Brian Gregory. We will have assistant coach Larry Dixon next. This is the Brian Gregory Show. Welcome back to the Brian Gregory Show. We've sat down with the head coach, and we are now sitting down with assistant coach Larry Dixon. And, Coach, first of all, let me say I really appreciate you doing this. I know that it has been a long 24 hours for everybody, but when you get a win, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, you can go a little longer when you get a win and enjoy that. But, I just hate the show has to go downhill now that I'm here.
Oh, come on now. We saved the best for last. That's what I tell my last guest every time.
There you go. There you go.
How good did it feel to win last night in Cincinnati? I mean, it's you against the world when you go on the road in this league.
No question, and I thought our guys grew up a little bit. The biggest thing is that last round, I think we might have been tied or maybe up one. And the guys were in the huddle saying, hey, we're going to win this last round. And they did it. And, I thought they grew up as a team. They were together. Even when they made that run, we were up 10 or 12. They made the run. The guys said, we're going to win this game. And it was coming from them and not necessarily the coaches, which anytime you got a player-driven team, you're going to be better.
Yeah.
And they responded. So that was great to see.
The lead was 12. You never lost the lead. It got to 68-68, and then you put them way down the stretch there in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Tell me what the locker room looked like afterward, because that's the place where you can finally let it loose.
No question. The guys just grabbed BG and started throwing him around.
That's not hard.
I was like, we still should be social distancing right now. But, it's interesting you say we never lost the lead. As a coach over there on the sideline, you think we done lost the lead.
Yeah.
But they made a run. And good teams do that, especially when they're at home. You got to put them away. And we withstood their run. And then we were able to, like I say, win the last round. And then once we got to the locker room, it was a little jubilation going on.
Yeah. Well, it was a great start to the league schedule. Obviously, you're 1-0 as you have Wichita State coming into town on Tuesday night. A variety of questions I want to get to. For folks that might not know, Larry now in his third year with USF with Brian Gregory. High school in North Carolina, went to college, Division II, Johnson C. Smith University, the Golden Bulls.
Yeah.
Let's see, I consider you the most famous alum to come out of there, and then maybe Curly Neal is second to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if people might debate that, but, maybe I'm a little biased.
In my own mind, there's no debate, but in everybody else's mind, it's very debatable. But definitely had some good years there in Charlotte, and I'm from 45 minutes up the road from there. I didn't want to go far from home. I'm a mama's boy, and I wanted to be close to mama.
Right.
So I was fortunate enough to get a degree there, and that's the biggest thing.
You had a nice playing career there in the early to mid-'90s, and then you became a head coach at the high school level. Let me ask you this. 2001 Mecklenburg County Coach of the Year. Where is the award? I know you know where it's at somewhere in the house.
I do not know.
Come on now. That's not prominently displayed somewhere?
No, I've moved so much. I can't tell you how much stuff I've lost just because.
Blame the movers.
Yeah, that's who I'm blaming it on. Every 2 years, it seemed like after that I was moving.
Right.
Then once you move so much, you get tired of moving all that stuff, so you kind of let some of it go. But
right.
I was fortunate enough, had really good kids, and what's funny is I still keep in touch with some of them,
That's
so that's
great.
a good thing.
So then you move on to the college level. You're an assistant at South Carolina State, at East Carolina, 5 years at Winthrop, 5 years at Georgia Southern, and then you get the call from BG. Tell me how that worked out where you ended up on this staff.
Well, let me go back because St. Andrews was my first college job, and I gotta go back to my roots, Division II. So, but just had some conversations with BG and Tommy, and I knew Tommy, knew BG a little bit. I knew Chad Dollar, who left, and we had great conversations, and I just was fortunate and blessed to get it because I know this was a highly desirable position, and I'm just glad, blessed, fortunate that BG decided to go with me.
So when you talk about moving around every couple of years, that's what every assistant says. And you could probably argue both sides of this, but I've heard you want to be on a lot of different staff so that you can get a lot of information, digest, and then, when you become a head coach at the college level, you can do it a multitude of different ways. And then you have some guys that say, I want to be one place for a long time for stability purposes.
Well, the one thing I've always tried to do is my trajectory going up my career. I want to be a Division I head coach one day, and each move I tried to strategically make it. But I try to learn in every situation I'm in, whether it's good or bad. You learn what not to do in some situations,
right.
And then you learn what to do. So I try to use each experience as a learning experience. But the one thing is, I've gotten to Tampa, and I absolutely love Tampa. It's hard not to like Tampa. I'm just telling you, and I could see myself finishing it up here. Unless BG run me out, then I gotta go maybe whatever, clean some cars or something. So, but I'm loving Tampa, and it's a great place. And like I said, I was just blessed and fortunate to get here.
Well, you mentioned Chad Dollar. He was here for a year, and then you came in after that. There has not been any turnover really in the coaching staff with BG. Why is that, do you think?
Well, that goes twofold. One, when you're working for a good person. Okay. That's number one. And then when you're at a great place and you can win there. And that's a tribute to our administration and the fans and just the University of South Florida as a whole. So when you get to a good place and you work with good people, you tend not to want to leave. So that's why I think the turnover has been low.
You work with the bigs primarily. Michael Durr and Alexis Yetna are becoming studs at this program. And now you got two new faces that can give you minutes off the bench, and Russell Chiwa and also Prince Oduro.
Yep. And they're learning. And Michael and Alexis have been role models. I wouldn't say role models, but leaders. They know what to expect. They know I expect them to bring it every day. And Russell, and I do believe Russell and Prince are getting better every day. And the best thing about those kids is they're working. They're working, and that's the basis of our program. You got to come to work every day. And so those guys are getting better, and we think that they're going to help us no matter how many minutes they get. If they get a lot or get a little, they're going to play hard, and they're going to help us. And Russell played well for us, helped us. Mike needed a little minute, a little blow last night dealing with the big kid in there, and he's a load now.
Yeah.
And I thought we did a good job on him. He was shooting like 90%.
Yep.
Coming into the game, and I say we held him. He shot, I think, 4 for 9 or 5 for 9.
Well, he made his first three, then he missed his next 4 in a row, and I thought that's when you guys started to separate because you had him under control.
Right. And you just can't simulate that size. I know we got some big guys, but he gets it deep in there, and woof, he's a load. And Mike, I thought Mike had his best game defensively because of his physicality. Even though the big kid made a couple shots in there, he earned those shots that he made. It wasn't a gimme. And so I thought Mike's physicality with him hurt him a little bit. Not hurt him, but, it bothered him a little bit.
Shifting gears a little bit, in the world we live in right now, as an assistant coach, you used to constantly go on the road. Sometimes you would meet us on the road from certain places as you're recruiting. Right now with the pandemic, you can't really do that. How has your life changed in recruiting?
It's changed a lot from the standpoint I'm watching a lot of videos, a lot of games, live stream, and a lot of talking on the phone. At one point, I didn't know what else to tell the kids how good Tampa is in South Florida. But last night, I had recruits texting and calling me, and so that was good. But now they're kind of seeing the product that I've been talking about. We just got to wait, try to get them on campus. We've done a lot of Zoom calls with some recruits. So it's different, though. It's different. I'm missing my mileage points and the Marriott points, but we'll make those up, I'm sure.
Well, you've had some games canceled this year. The LSU game got rescheduled with Wofford. Florida A&M got wiped out. I would imagine that BG is going up and down the line in those offices and saying, who do you know? Who have you talked to? Who can we call? We got to get some games.
Yeah, but, right now we're just focusing and concentrating on the games that we know is coming up because they're the most important ones, conference play. We actually only missed one game. And if you look at some teams around the country, they didn't play 6 non-conference games. So we feel fortunate enough to be done played the games that we've played. And the biggest game now is Wichita State because that's the next game. And, you know, we can't worry about spilled milk. This is 2020. This is life in the pandemic. And we're just trying to adjust. The best teams we really believe are the ones that are going to be able to adjust and keep it moving. So that's what we're going to try to do and keep our guys focused on the next game, and that's Wichita State.
That'll be Tuesday night. The Bulls are 1-0 in the league. Last question, how good can this team be this year?
I think the sky's the limit just because the potential is there. We just got to bring it every day, work, keep learning, keep getting better, and keep growing together. And I think the sky's the limit for this team.
I appreciate it, Coach. Get some sleep. You've certainly earned it. and I appreciate you coming by, and we saved the best for last.
Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, that's Assistant Coach Larry Dixon. That will do it for this edition of the Brian Gregory Show. Once again, we'll be back with you on January the 12th. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us.